Let's head back to the voicemail of Truth and Reason.
Hi, Dave. Love your show. This is Jerry again. I was looking at the projected 53-man roster, and man, there's some tough cuts. How many of those tough cuts do you think who are they going to be? And how many of them do you think will be on somebody else's roster next year? Thank you very much. Bye now.
As always, appreciate all the voicemails, Jeff. I think there's going to be guys that are cut that can play in the league. I think the thought is the Browns will probably try to find a way to get the 54th, 55, 56 guys on the practice squad. That may not work. I think they've upgraded the back end of this roster that much.
Well, I mean, you start with the wide receiver position. Jakeem Grant, who was signed, obviously, last offseason. There's probably not a home for this guy right now. Anthony Schwartz, seems like maybe Anthony Schwartz would need to do a complete 180 of his career if he wanted a chance to offset a player like Marquise Goodwin. It's great to talk about. Not necessarily sure that that's possibly going to happen. You get to the secondary. I mean, they keep bringing in corners. AJ Green is here, but they have Cam Mitchell already. You have Emerson. You have Greg Newsome. You have Denzel Ward. They have the two rookie undrafted safeties, Hickman and McAllister out of Ohio State. Look like one of those guys would maybe be a lock for the roster, but that, of course, was before you signed Rodney McLeod. Isaiah Thomas was a defensive end who showed a little bit of a promise last year as a rookie, 7th-round pick. He's all of a sudden now probably DN6, maybe DN7 on this roster. The D tackle position, they brought in, some guys who they're hoping for health for an opportunity to contribute in Tristan Hill and Maurice Hurst. But there's still some rumblings out there. The Browns would maybe like to bring in one more veteran defensive tackle, so that's going to put an awkward situation for a guy like Tommy Togiai or for Hill or for Maurice Hurst. So, yeah, it's interesting because, I mean, you can get down to about 62 rather easily for the Browns. Then it kind of gets into some weird numbers. Are they only going to keep 6 wide receivers? A lot of people think they'll keep 10 offensive linemen. I don't think they're in a position to keep 10 offensive linemen because I think they're going to want to be a little bit deeper on the defensive side of the ball. So that takes you down to 9 offensive linemen. Where's the 4th tight end going to come from if you need him? Are you going to stash him on the practice squad? How many running backs are you going to keep? And these numbers will start to probably maybe come a little bit more into clarity, as we get a little further down the road here in the preseason. But yeah, look, but the thing is, and one thing is if you can get down to that 60, and you know what, you would say, all right, I don't really necessarily care who this next 7 are, because of those 60, if you tell me I only get 53 of them, I'm ecstatic.
Yeah, absolutely. To the caller's point, there's a guy, Nick Harris. Say he doesn't win the backup center, he's going to play. Somebody's going to sign him because
how does he? Of course, how does he win it though? I mean, you just drafted another center.
Yeah, and James Hudson is kind of in that situation. I think he's probably shown enough that if he's not on the final,
I think James Hudson's going to be safe. And this is the one thing. And remember last year we saw some offensive linemen play blocking tight end. James Hudson was one of them. Yep. You know what David Njoku is as a complete tight end. You get to, Akins, you get to Harrison Bryant. There's going to be opportunities where I wouldn't be surprised if you saw DeJuan Jones and you saw James Hudson coming in as short yardage goal line blocking tight ends, just because it's not really what your other 2 tight ends do very well. So why would you risk, having plays blow up in negative plays or, negative yardage when you got guys that can go out there and move people around? Again, it's not going to be something the Browns do a lot because they're not going to play a lot of tight sets, but you're going to have to when you need to, and you're obviously going to find a way to put the best 11 personnel on the field to do so.
Yeah, but I guess the point I'm getting at, Dunn or Forbes or whoever is that 9th or 10th guy that doesn't matter, he can play in the league, and you couldn't always say that here. So to the caller,
Jakeem Grant.
Yeah,
somebody's going to roll a dice on Jakeem Grant as a utility player and offensive return man. Anthony Schwartz, if his time here is over, somebody else is going to go out and bring in a wide receiver who runs a 4.3 40.
Yep.
Somebody's going to do that just because he can. And again, I mean, the Browns may be in an advantage where they might be able to recoup a couple of draft picks over Labor Day weekend, because saying, hey, look, if we cut him, you're what, 17th, 18th on the waiver wire, you're not going to have a shot. So you want to give me some sort of, pick that it's got conditions tied to it, 6th, 7th, whether it's this year, next year. The Browns may have an opportunity, bring back a little bit of capital over Labor Day weekend.